I'm talking with two ministers today, Policy and Reform, also Treasury. That's Mr. Chris Roberts-Shaw and Mr. Tier. You've wanted to talk to the media in response to Alf Cannan, particularly, about the business with the funding of old age pensions and that fund that is now coming much to the fore with a lot of people. He says you're not doing this well, you're scaring the public, and this is not the way you should be doing it.
Well, we feel that we've acted responsibly. We've developed over a period of time the research into where we are now, how we've got there. That has identified certain issues. And I think to illustrate that, we have a virtually identical benefit system to the UK, but over the last decade, our claims experience, this is excluding pensions, has varied from the UK. But if we had have had the same experience as the UK, we'd be paying out nearly £15 million a year less. So quite clearly there is an issue, and we need to address that issue. And the investment that we put into the research and the way forward, if we achieve a significant saving, it's going to be repaid in a very, very short period of time, and I'm confident that we can. And this is one of the shortest payback periods that I've ever seen in government. We could have that money back in a matter of weeks. But more importantly, what we're trying to do is we are trying to deliver a sustainable future for the benefit system. We're not planning for the next general election. We're planning for the next generation. We're planning for the people who follow us.
A lot of the criticism, though, was the way you did it. Is that you didn't go to Tynwald, you were going to introduce these consultants at about £1 million, yes? I mean, is
750.
Yes, but heading towards that way. Is that the way it should have been done? You still relaxed that you did it the correct way?
Yes, we are.
We feel it was entirely appropriate. It was the right thing to do. How can you explain the principles to people when there's major pieces of research still needing to be done? We've commissioned that. On the one hand, we've got the report from the UK government actuary, which Mr. Cannan has commented on. Incidentally, the report that he's commented on is 5 years out of date. I'm going back to Tynwald next month with the current one, which is bang up to date and shows that despite the raising of the pension age, the fund is deteriorating. So to protect the future, we need to deal with it. And this is a government of action. We will deal with it.
And there's a sequence here. The sequence is that we've got to do all this legwork, all this hard background work to thoroughly understand our position and to prepare ourselves to go out to the general public. You've heard me say innumerable times, and the Treasury Minister, that we are going to have a national debate, and we're going to do exactly that. And from the as an outcome from the national debate, we will then take our proposals to Tynwald. That's the right sequence. There seems to be some confusion when this administration is, as it's trying to do, look forward to the medium and long term. There's a process that we have to go through, and I think one or two politicians are expecting us to come up with instant answers and don't quite understand the complexity of the process that we're going through and the degree of work that we're involved in.
Can we break this down then for the public who are listening and watching this? I mean, there's a worry out there to people who think the pensions are going to run out. What do you say, and how can you explain exactly what is going to happen?
What we have to do is we have to take steps to ensure that they do not run out, and that's exactly what we're doing. To go back to something that myself and Minister Roberts-Shaw said before, we're trying to reach a point where we have a sustainable benefit system going into the future. There's no point in us making short-term promises hoping that we get re-elected. That's not right. What we want to do is we want to protect the next generation and to bring fairness across the generations.
How much do you have control of this? Because so many things are linked with the UK, are they not, on benefits and pensions? Are you not just tied in?
Well, this is why the whole process is complex and why it needs so much work, because we not only have to identify what is right for the Isle of Man, but we have to correlate it to what the position is with regard to the UK and what the UK are doing. So it's a multi-dimensional challenge that we face, and we're determined to get it right. And you won't get it right by rushing fences or failing to take the appropriate consultancy advice.
Who should be worried? What age range are we talking about that should be concerned?
If we get this right, nobody should be worried, because the whole point is that we're determined to protect current pensioners, but we're not going to disregard in that process our children and grandchildren. We've got an absolute duty of care to get this right, and we will do it. But we don't do it overnight. And I really am disappointed with the way Alf Cannan has created this outburst and tried to diminish all the work that's going on. But I'm particularly concerned for two reasons. The first reason is that he is the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee and is looking at this very point. And yet here he is, midstream, as it were, in that work, coming out with a prejudiced view. He's taken a position. So really, what is the point of the committee carrying on?
So do you want him removed from that?
I think he should consider his position. Yes, I do. In this present inquiry, what's the point of having these important scrutiny committees do their work if the chairman's going to rush out into the public arena starting to talk about short-term issues? It's just simply not correct. Now, the other point that I'm upset about is the fact that he said, we shouldn't be worrying about the state pension issue. That's not a matter of concern. It is, and we're dealing with it, as we've explained. He said we should be concerning ourselves with the public sector pension matters. Now, he's suddenly forgotten that for the last 2.5 years, he's been chairman of the Civil Service Commission, and he's been vice chairman of the PSPA, the Public Sector Pensions Authority. He was in the ideal position to grasp the matters in hand and to deal with them. But what he actually did was waited for a couple of weeks after he'd stepped down from those positions and then accused government of not acting. Well, what has government done? When I got appointed as Minister of Policy and Reform, the Chief Minister asked me then to become Chairman of the Civil Service Commission and Vice Chairman of PSPA. And in the last week, we have put together a Tynwald working party to look at these very matters. So the matters he should have dealt with, we're now dealing with. So I think his comments are almost verging on the ridiculous.
He said this days ago now. Why have you left it so long to make a reply to it? Because, I mean, it's
no,
out there in the media and people have taken it on board and people do hear these things. They do worry about it. I mean, you've got a lot of people concerned, have you not?
Well, he came out in the press on Wednesday, I believe. It's only Friday. We don't rush our fences. We think carefully about these issues. That's what we've done now. We'll continue to deliberate on the big issues, and in due course we will take the matters out to the general public, and I'm sure give them reassurance that their government has been working hard for their future. You
say he should consider his position. Can he be removed? Does like Chief Minister have the power to take him off that?
No. It's a parliamentary matter, and it's a matter for his conscience in the end. But scrutiny committees are very important components of the way government works, and I don't think it helps if the chairman of such an important scrutiny committee compromises the committee work.
We'll wait to hear from him. I'm sure he'll be in touch on this. But Brenda Cannell's also come out against, agreeing with Alf Cannan, basically.
Well, she's jumping on the bandwagon, isn't she?
And she's very successful jumping on bandwagons. If I give you two illustrations, your viewers may recall that I wanted to alter the transport arrangements for young people with learning difficulties going to Eastcliff. Now, that was going to deliver, in my opinion, a better service at half the cost. She brought forward a Tynwald motion to get it stopped. In effect, it was delayed by 2 months. About 3 or 4 months after the system was introduced, I got phone calls from some of the parents saying, "Thank you very much. Our child is much more independent now, and you've done them a favour, and we're sorry about the controversy." And then let's have a look at the breast care. Now, she led the charge, as it were, that there shouldn't be any change to the breast care arrangements at Nobles, and then she's had a conversion on the road to Damascus. All of a sudden now the new system, which Minister Anderson brought in the face of sustained opposition, is recognised to be far superior, and she then wanted to support it, so she was chair of the charity, although I understand that she isn't now. So really, she's very good at jumping on bandwagons, but what she achieved, what she delivered, you could put it on the back of a postage stamp.
That's quite critical.
It's a fact.
Yet, one more time about this, I want to try and get to the fact, the bottom of it, of people listening to this, watching this now.
The people who are listening to this, they've got a choice between listening to headline-grabbing politicians trying to generate fear on the one hand, or the administration that is quietly and deliberately working very hard towards a sustainable future and a full engagement with the people, so that everybody can, and that includes the silent majority, which is a challenge for us and the media, by the way, so that the government and the people of the Isle of Man have confidence in the way forward. And we will just keep going.
Okay, so we are going to break from the UK. Is that, I mean, this is where we're heading, right? I mean, this is all, you're talking around about it, but this is going to have to happen, right?
No, that's not the case at all. In December of last year, I focused on this particular issue considerably, because it seemed to me that as we were working our way through a variety of solutions in terms of health and welfare in the Isle of Man, and the UK was doing something similar, that one day we could both wake up quite innocently and found that, for example, reciprocity elastic had snapped. So I actually went over to the UK and spoke to coalition ministers, to shadow ministers, to think tank CEOs, to chairmen of select committees in Westminster, engaging with them so that as they developed their policies and we developed ours, they remained together where appropriate, and there were differences recognised by both parties where appropriate. So it is a multi-complex matrix of issues that we're dealing with here, not silly, flippant, headline-grabbing backbenchers trying to ridicule a lot of hard work.
Okay. Finally, I mean, the Christmas bonus, let's talk about that. The pensioners now. I mean, there's an example of money that will concern them. You've made it clear, even when we're in this room, when you're doing through the budget speech, that this cannot go on. You agree with me? You still... I'm trying to get to the bottom of where will we start seeing some changes to the system and what people see in their pension and pockets. Do you want to comment upon that?
Yeah, we're working towards options.
Will there be a Christmas pension bonus for Manx pensioners?
You mustn't push us on specific issues.
Well, why not?
Because it's not the appropriate time to do so, Paul.
Well, people out there will want to know this.
We are working our way to a set of solutions which are sustainable and fair.
Yeah. Basically, what you're suggesting to us is that we should make policy on the hoof. That's something that we will not do.
I'm just trying to get to the fact, or whatever, that at some point you will have to change the arrangements. You're making this clear in the sense this is all softening people up, isn't it? This sort of approach.
It's not softening people up at all. It's a government facing unprecedented challenges. We will do that. We will do it calmly, and we will do it with appropriate advice. And when we've established a set of sensible options, which we're working towards, the Treasury Minister and I will take those issues out into the public arena, and with your help, we'll engage in them in a sober fashion.
But at the end of the day, Tynwald will have to pass it.
Indeed, and that day will come.